afternoon, good morning, good evening, ladies and gentlemen, wherever you are, whatever time it is for you right now. Just know that you are locked in onto the point with
Skip
and the King. You guys find us Apple, Amazon, Spotify while you're working out, driving your car. You can find us on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube right now. And thank you for supporting our content. We really do appreciate you guys over the last few years and supporting our fantastic guests. My man, can you tell the audience out there how they can get hold of you?
Well, thank you so much, guys, for inviting me first. And you can find me at Twitter at Beyond Locker Room, short form RM. And also you can hear me at post games on RLTV. So thanks, hopefully I can get a chance to talk to you and chop it up with you.
Let's just say hypothetically speaking, Pascal were to get the Supermax, and because him and Masai are boys, and Jakob Poeltl, great acquisition by the way, which we did cover. Do you think that would cause some disassociation or some disgruntlement from certain players in the locker room going forward when it comes to the Raptors? Maybe there might have to be a move and somebody might have to leave, Brian.
Are you hinting at somebody in this case, or are you just kind of saying
No,
that?
No, I'm just saying, somebody might be like, yo, dog, it's my time. What about me? I want my money. Get me paid. What about something like that? Like that kind of situation.
That's already happening.
It's kind of happening.
And I want you to shed some light on this.
Yeah, please. I think Siakam is the one person I don't think you have to worry about that concern happening to, because he's the top dog. I don't think anyone's going to kind of be looking sideways at Siakam getting his money. I think there's some other players where that could be problematic and could be a concern, but with Pascal, no, I don't think that's going to be an issue with him.
But do you see it happening with other players?
I can see it with if other players, particularly others, like certain other players, get big contracts. I could definitely see that play out as you do. Like who? Well, I mean, there's a few guys right now are up for contract negotiations this year. I think we know who they are, and I think those two guys, if they were to get paid, if one of them were to get paid and the other one didn't, or say the guy's coming up sees that number and asking them questions, I think those three guys, there could be a little issue amongst them. Let's put it that way.
Yeah.
Skip, do you see some sort of dysfunction in the locker room? Like I said, hypothetically.
Well, like I said, I think the stuff that you're talking about is already brewing under the surface. I'm not concerned about Siakam's specific contract, because I think if Siakam gets a regular max, that's totally fine. That's totally within the bounds of what he has basically earned. Now the problem with Supermax is just what it does to the team's payroll in general, and what it does to the percentage of the cap and all this. I believe it's 35% of the cap for a Supermax. So that's a huge burden on the Raptors. That's not forget the players situation, all this. That makes it really hard for the Raptors to kind of make these little marginal moves. So that's why it's bad from a front office perspective. As far as whether guys will be bemoaned their other guys getting money, it's never, they're never really bemoaning the other guy getting paid. It's they want to also get paid, right? So what happens, even if it's not necessarily discord in the locker room, it's like, well, I might have to go somewhere else to get my bag because the Raptors' resources are all tied up in this bag over here. So that's really what it comes down to. It's hard to really know what's going on behind the scenes with all the rumors that were floating all season. And Fred VanVleet's still here. So all the people that were kind of saying that he was on his way out the door for all these reasons. And it seems to me that the front office really values what Fred VanVleet brings to the table. So I think they're going to pay VanVleet kind of regardless of what they're planning to pay Siakam in the next year when he comes eligible. But we shall see if that all comes to bear.
Mom, did you hear that? Skip said Fred VanVleet's staying, so you could be happy.
I said the front office wants to keep him. I'm not 100% sure that they will, but I said I think they value him more than Joe Blow fan does, for example.
I agree with that.
Wow. Okay. Guys, we're killing this. So based on what we're talking about right here with maybe keeping certain players and maybe certain players being disgruntled, do you think Masai has a plan? And if you do think he has a plan, what do you think it is?
This is a very good question, actually, because I think if you had to ask me a week ago, I thought I knew what the plan was. I think after what happened at the trade deadline, I'm not sure, but I think he did say something in his comments that might lead us to say where he might be heading. He mentioned we'll make deals in this, essentially kind of paraphrasing, he will make deals in the summertime. In this case here, for if need be, which kind of tells me in this case that it might be a move with OG in this case here, who would still be under contract more so than maybe even Fred. It sounds like. So
he said we can make those moves in the summer. He didn't say we will make those.
We'll make the moves summer. Right.
He said we can make those
moves in the summer.
Yeah.
But I think that would be the person I would think if a move were to happen, because I just don't think you could see him paying everybody like that. Just from just what Skip was talking about, like never mind the supermax. Just thinking overall, to be that top heavy with that many players, with that larger contract, and you still have to pay Scotty in a few years. I just can't see all these guys getting paid by the Raptors. Someone's going to be missing the chair.
Yeah.
That's interesting. It's like musical chair. Someone's getting a chair pulled out.
Yeah.
You see those videos where someone pulls a chair out from underneath them? Skip, what are your thoughts on what is Masai's plan? Because you and I have actually spoken about this multiple times and even offline about where he can possibly go, who could be on the out, who could be on the in. What do you think, my man?
I think the OG thing is definitely potentially in play. I wonder if the injury had any effect on his market.
I don't want it to happen.
Yeah, I don't want it to happen either. I really don't. I wonder if one of kind of the subtext of, we could trade him in the summer is in the summer he'll be healthy and we'll be able to get almost what we could have gotten at the deadline. That said, I don't think that's his number one plan. I think his number one plan is to invest in these 8 guys. But he needs
Name them.
Siakam,
Pascal.
Scotty, Van Vliet, Trent, Achua, who am I forgetting? Pirtle.
I guess last guy.
Achua.
OG Anunoby. I already said Achua. And oh my God, I'm blanking. Maybe it's only 7.
Yeah, because Boucher's left back, and I'm not sure if that's.
I'm not counting Boucher. Boucher. Yeah, I think it's 7. I think it was.
Count Boucher. I count Boucher, but go on, Skip.
Sorry, so 7. Invest in these 7 guys. I think the goal is if these 7 guys can show out for the rest of the season, if OG can come back and be healthy, and yada yada yada, and the team can show how good they could be, then they will invest in this team, and they will do whatever needs to be done to make this team happen, whether that's paying a little luxury tax, whether that's dumping some contracts for second round picks. They'll do what they have to do to keep this core together, but only if this core shows out for the next 2 months. They're officially, it's like when you're at your job, your boss calls you into the office and says, listen, get your crap together or you're on notice. And that's kind of where we're at. It's he's like, all right, you guys are sucking. Let's see what you got. If you could show me that you got something, then we're gonna invest in you.
Skip, I would say as of this recording, you and Brian, I would say that as of the last game that I witnessed, when Jakob Poeltl showed up and showed out, I noticed a change in the style of the Raptors play. I guess it might have been the effect from the cause of Adrian Griffin coaching the game prior to that one. I noticed that Freddie actually took a step back and he was more conscious of passing, which is what we need to build a team chemistry. Did I say we? Shit. Okay. But what they need to do to build team chemistry, I noticed Scotty being Scotty, crashing the glass, doing what he does. I noticed Slim Duck being right there where he needs to be. I seen Pascal doing his spin thing. I noticed a bunch of stuff.
Yeah.
Right. And I noticed a change.
Yeah.
In the tempo. And Skip, we have spoken about this a couple of weeks ago. The Raptors were in 12th.
Yeah.
They were the 4th worst team in the league at one point, right? And even though they better make Daddy some money, because I bet them to be 4th.
I can't remember. Go on.
No, the whole league.
Okay.
I bet them to be 4th in the Eastern Conference. And right now, currently, they're back in the play-in. They're back at 9 right now, currently, as of this recording, ladies and gentlemen. And maybe that whole Jakob Poeltl thing, like, Skip, you said it, and I gotta give you props, my brother. You said it, that with no major trade at the trade deadline, which means the guys in the locker room are saying, okay, well, we're all standing brothers in arms, going to war together. I honestly see that shining through. They might have taken 3 games, right? But they won the last 2, and they're coming up. And
I mean, they beat Orlando and Detroit. Let's not get carried away.
we're not getting carried away, but these are signs of positivity.
For sure.
Right, and giving them opportunities. Like, sometimes you got to beat up the little kid in the playground before you punch the big kid in the playground,
100%.
and get your ass whooped, right? Sometimes you got to beat the little kid up, and then you could go stand up to this guy, right? So maybe that's what it's doing, and it's showing that their chemistry is working. And I honestly think there is a lot to do within that team, and maybe they have taken a retreat, and maybe this time off. Like, what did Lonzo Ball say the other day? Oh, we got 9 days off.
It wasn't 9? Lonzo Ball. I know the point you're talking about. It wasn't.
Whatever, one of those dumbasses. One of them, and they were just like, 9 days off, 9 days off, right? The Raptors got some time off, so maybe now they can recollect, maybe decompress, maybe rethink, retool their methods, and rebuild their chemistry for the rest of the season. Because let's face it, there's only 20-something games left, and
there's 23 games left. Yeah.
Yes, 20-something games.
Can I just jump in on the first point you made there?
What?
I'm just going to jump in on that first point. So you said it was interesting how the lineup kind of changed the dynamics, right? With Poeltl in the last game. I thought what was really interesting about that is that if you watch, I actually just rewatched that Magic game this morning, and one thing that I found really interesting is Scotty. You really noticed, as much as Fred VanVleet was the guy who had all the assists on the box score, especially early in the game, the ball was running through Scotty at the top. Like, he was the guy bringing the ball up the court. He was the guy initiating everything. Then there would be an outlet pass to VanVleet, and then maybe there'd be a duck in the lane, like a pick and roll in the lane.
Scotty had the hockey passes.
Yeah, he was. It wasn't just the hockey passes. He was the guy who was running the point, essentially, especially the first quarter of that game. You really saw that usually VanVleet would still touch the ball, but it was kind of, they were going back and forth. It wasn't one or the other. And that game, they had 31 assists. Like, this is a team that's bottom of the league in assists. Or bottom 5 of the league in assists, I should say. They had 31 assists. That would have been, if they can average 31 assists for the rest of the season, they will be tops in the league in assists. So they really passed the ball well, and it all started with Scotty being the head of the snake, so to speak, and then VanVleet being involved, and then these other guys, and then Poeltl with the pick and rolls. Like, obviously he was getting wide open. Now, I mean, this is one thing I say about, we're playing the Magic, right? If you're playing a team that isn't the Magic, they're not going to let a 50% free throw shooter get into the lane without ever fouling him like 15 times a game. Like, that's not going to happen against a good team. A good team's going to hack him, send him to the line, and he's going to miss half his free throws. But regardless, he was finding his spot. He was hitting that pretty little floater. Things were kind of clicking in that game. Now, I have some questions about the defense, especially in the first half, but I think we kind of saw some definite signs of how the team can kind of slowly start to find their water level and their roles in this new kind of offense.
Brian, what do you think about the roles, maybe the way they've been playing recently and building their chemistry? Any thoughts on any of those topics?
Well, I think the Poeltl acquisition actually has triggered something that we weren't sure would happen, but it seems to be happening, which he's become a catalyst for guys to pass more. So, like, he's, his pick and roll and him getting the ball in the middle of the court, he moves the ball quickly. He doesn't sit in his hand for long. He makes a quick decision what he has to do, and it seems to be becoming a bit contagious, which is really good to see. We'll see how long it goes. I mean, I think the other thing, just going back a little bit to why maybe might be some more optimism, I think also too, I think Masai looked at the schedule, and that's probably one of the reasons why we didn't make many moves. because the schedule the next month is pretty. A lot of sisters of the poor out there in this case here. They're playing.
It's only the next 6 games. The next 6 games are really easy. But if you look at their overall strength of schedule the rest of the season, they actually now have one of the harder strength of schedules.
You say easy like you're playing or something.
Yeah. Well, I mean, they have to play the Cavs, and then they have 4 bad teams, and then the Pelicans without Zion. So they need to make some hay in those 6 games for sure.
Exactly. There's a lot of Bulls, there's a lot of Wizards in some coming up. So and those are games, obviously, are important games against the teams are fighting against. So I think there's opportunity. Let's put it that way. But I think the Pirtle move has created some things that we didn't know exactly would come to fruition, and so far it looks like they are coming to fruition. Not bad.
Looking good. All right. You know why? It's from our sponsor, WeDoLaundry.ca. You guys go down there, find them. We'll leave a link in the description. You guys punch in the promo code to the point, and you get 5% off. They come to your door, they pick up, they wash, they dry, they fold, return it unscathed. It's a great service. Now, that's awesome. Guys, we're running low on time. So, Brian, I would love to ask you one last thing. Hit me with anything you want to say to our lovely ladies and gentlemen out there. The floor is yours, my friend.
Or any topic, in the NBA? Anything?
Anything you want to say, real quick. Anything you want to.
Sure.
On the internet. You know, kids are gonna see this for the next 50 years. So.
Well, I was actually going to talk about something related to this, to the TV rights deal. Actually, it's coming up for the NBA. I think this is going to be a huge deal coming up because I think the last deal was like $24 billion or so. I think right now there's rumors this one might be 3 times that, and it's going to be fascinating to see how not just the NBA but specifically this team, the Raptors.
I saw 60.
Yeah. Even 60 or 68, like that's just ridiculous money that we're talking about. And I think obviously it's going to change how people perceive how their team is and what they pay players, but also with the Raptors specifically, we'll see how their standing is within MLSE, because the gap between them and the Maple Leafs, I think, will continue to grow from the standpoint of which was the more profitable, operation in this case when you're getting TV deals worth $60 or $70 billion. I think you start having a little bit of a different type of credibility within the organization. And I'm curious to see how Masai leverages that, once that deal comes through, and, how he positions the team in this case within the organization coming through. So that's going to be fascinating to watch, see how that plays out.
Ooh, Skip, I think he just asked us. Normally we give a guest a question at the end. I think he just asked us a question.
Sorry, my bad.
What was the question?
No, not your bad.
I don't quite see how that's a question, but I think. Well, the only thing I really have to say to that is just look at what the Suns just sold for, right? I mean, the Raptors are a very valuable commodity right now in the league and in the world. I'm sure MLC knows what they're sitting on with that. So in that sense, maybe. I mean, I'll pivot back to basketball, but that might make them a little more willing to pay a little bit luxury tax, right? If they know that they have this extremely valuable team, they've obviously still got a little bit of equity from the championship in the city. I think that maybe the luxury tax isn't so pie in the sky as we think. Maybe I think the really important thing is Masai just has to believe in the team, and if he believes in the team, then he could maybe talk to the owners and say, "Yeah, we're going to pay a little extra this year." And it's not just this year; it's the next 3 or 4 years probably. And that's where it gets really problematic. Is if you pay it next year, then it gets worse every year because it's cumulative, right? So I think that's sort of where the money could go. But I mean, we shall see. If this is a sub 500 team at the end of the year, I don't think they're paying luxury tax.
I think we all know for a fact Tannenbaum's got money. Right, and I think we all know that within the MLSE, the Toronto Maple Leafs actually pay for 6 teams with the revenue they occur, right, in their league in the NHL. So if the Raptors were to come across some money, I think they might turn aside and be like, "Yeah, get that dude from Cameroon to go jump and put the ball in the hole." Right? They might do
What?
something like that. Yeah, give them the money. Give them the money. Give them the money. They might do something like that. That's just the way I see it, because that's a very interesting point, Brian. Because now that changes the dynamic and it changes the whole game for within what works in the front office.
The only
and
difference with that,
locker
Brian, is that this
What?
is corporate overlords. This is not a single owner. So that makes a big difference. If you
Yeah,
have
yeah.
if you have
But-
to answer to shareholders, that's much different than if you just have some guy who's
True.
like,
Yeah, I'm pretty sure they want their cut, of course. And I'm pretty sure, but if they're you got to spend money, make money. So I'm pretty sure if they wouldn't mind spending a little bit of money, just a little bit, right, to make more money, I don't see why not, because that turns out for them from a business standpoint, it turns out into merch, right? It turns out into selling out seats. It turns out into increasing the price on seats. It ends up increasing the concession stands, right? So that's just the way I see it. But guys, we have no time left. So Brian, thank you very much. Can you please remind the lovely ladies and gentlemen out there where they can find you, my friend?
Yes, you can find me on Twitter at Beyond Locker Room RM. As I said before, you can find me at every post game for the Raptors Live TV. I'll be there chopping up with the guys, and hopefully, these guys come around too sometimes and talk with them about it as well too. So thank you so much for inviting me again, guys.
Hey, anytime. You're more than welcome as being a guest in our home, and we'll roll out the red carpet for you anytime. Skip, you know where they can find you at Dougie J's on Twitter, SimonBroder.com. You guys go buy his book on Amazon.ca, right? Oh, you got it there? You got a copy? You got a copy? Okay.
He's
Okay.
prepared.
You guys find my are you kidding? Where's my copy of the book?
all right,
Oh,
Brian,
yeah.
let's wrap it up. Oh yeah, that's the old one.
Bootleg. I got the bootleg. Yeah, I know. We all got shit to do. You guys can find me at King Hussein on all social media platforms. You guys make sure to go subscribe. Thank you for supplying and enjoying our great content and being one of our guests. Same way we met Brian. So on behalf of all three of us, good afternoon, good morning, good evening, good night, and
Peace.
Peace.